name's Robert Glen, otherwise known as Rob. I was born in Nairobi in Kenya in 1940. My parents were Scottish, came from Glasgow, and very luckily they got married in Kenya. So luckily they left Glasgow and were in Kenya, and that's where I was brought up. Working from life is just, it's a thing where if you're in proximity to your subject matter, which I am nearly all the time, I've got something that I call a fantasy or chewing gum experience. The further away you are from your subject, you have to fantasize after a certain point. And I'm sure a lot of people have eaten bubble gum, and if you chew it, there's a point where it breaks. And so I relate it to that. If you go beyond a certain point from your subject, you then have to memorize what that thing's about, what it is all about, and so on and so on. In making a piece and living how we do, one's always seeing things happening. Animals moving, jumping, whether they're in the air or whether they're on the ground, they are always in balance. And that balance is transmitted through into things in the air as well. They are going through a motion, but they're totally in control of that leap or movement. And so if you can home in on that particular situation, the animal is balanced and doing what it's doing. How do you hold this thing up there? So if you can hold that thing in that position with the least visual obstruction of something holding it, then you've got it. You're left with something that's flowing and moving, and that's what you look at. And one of the things that I'm hoping for and looking for is things that give you a kick. Things that you stand next to and say, yeah, good, wow. And I think in all of it, be it paintings or be it sculpture, I think all of it comes through the person that has done that and how he or she did it. How close were they to their subject when they made the piece? To me, that's everything. Coming up with new ideas, especially how we live, is not difficult. In fact, the difficult thing is there's so much there all the time, and you're sort of looking around, and then every so often there's something that really hits you, and it may be an animal that you've done many times. But you say, wow, look at that. I didn't know that. And so I'm going to do that again because of this or that. In my life, I've looked at over 2 million elephants, for example, and spent a lot of time with elephants, and I like them because of their mass. Today, after all these years of over 60 years of working, when I'm sitting with an elephant or a bunch of elephants, but I'm looking at things that suddenly you say, I didn't know that. And it's a little movement on a skin surface of something that's happening underneath. And so I don't think there's any end to the excitement and material that's there in front of you. In the early days, working from whatever you can in a studio, going on a safari, looking at animals, come back to the place and work of what you think you know. And then that slowly evolved round into spending more and more time out with subject and going back for less time. And now, for many years, I'm living in the sticks and doing my modeling in the sticks with my subject matter. And that's how I've evolved in that whole time. And so I think that's the important thing that I've gone through, is turn it around from working in the studio to working in the sticks. The museum here bought 3 running giraffes, and that was for me quite an honor and sudden thing to happen. And so that was how it started. And then not long after that, I was invited to exhibit in the show, the annual show here in the museum. When we got here for the first time and walked into Jackson, not only the little town, but to come to the museum and then see the impact of this wetland that's here and the mountains and all the rest of it, it really hit us with the same soul feeling that it does at home where we are. All I can say is that for me, especially, to be in the museum and a part of it and being allowed to be with such great people that are here, names from the past and now, is a really important stage in one's existence, because working in the sticks, coming to this museum, is everything.